and I'm Laura, that's Danny, that's Carly, and that's Lauren.
Once there was a reindeer named Rudolph who lived at the North Pole.
Rudolph was younger and smaller than the other reindeer there. They all had proud, tall antlers. Rudolph's antlers were only tiny stubs.
Worst of all, Rudolph had a nose that was big and bright red. It was so red it glowed in the dark.
Poor Rudolph, he wanted to be like the other reindeer. All the other reindeer made fun of Rudolph.
Sometimes the other reindeer made a circle around Rudolph and sang,
Red nose, a funny sight,
big as an apple and twice as bright. They kicked up snowballs with their tiny hooves and covered Rudolph with a blanket of snow.
All the reindeer loved to play games. They played tree tag and snow slide and tumbled bones. But Rudolph was never asked to play. He stood behind a pine tree and watched. He was very lonely.
Rudolph couldn't even play hide and seek with the rabbits. His glowing red nose gave him away every time. Before Christmas Eve, Santa's elves posted a sign that said Santa was choosing the team that would deliver presents to every good boy and girl.
Each reindeer hoped he would be chosen to guide Santa's sleigh. It was the greatest honor a reindeer could ever have.
Rudolph sighed. He was ashamed to have Santa see his bright red nose, so he decided to hide.
Santa chose his team very carefully. He chose fastest and strongest reindeer. I think Dasher will be fine. He's the biggest, said Santa.
And Dancer is the strongest. I also picked Prancer and Vixen, said Santa. They make the smoothest landings on rooftops.
Comet is the fastest, and Cupid is the most sure-footed, said Santa. I picked them. And last I choose Donner and Blitzen. They are the best at twisting over treetops and skimming over the telephone poles.
The reindeers chosen were all very happy. They danced and clicked their antlers together. Even the reindeer who weren't chosen were given good jobs. The only reindeer without a job was Rudolph. He wanted to help, but he knew he would be laughed at. He stayed hidden.
At last it was Christmas Eve. Santa's elves were busy packing the sled. The night was bitter and cold, and a terrible fog covered all the earth.
Santa's elves kept bumping into each other as they hitched the team. They could hardly see as they put on each bright harness and tried to each show a bell.
To make matters worse, Dasher and Dancer were fighting. Even Santa was a little cross. We'll never get there if you two don't stop quarreling, Santa said. Where's my snow? Thank goodness for that light. I can finally see my list. Who brought this fine lantern? I must take it with me. I can see perfectly now.
It's not a lantern, said Rudolph. This light comes from my nose.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, said Santa. I'm really glad to see you. Your light will guide my sleigh tonight. I have put you head of my team and #1 reindeer in all the world.
Rudolph held his head high. Proudly, he pranced to the front of the team. All the other reindeer bowed, then down through the clouds and over the sleeping houses. Santa and his team flew on that foggy Christmas Eve.
And leading all the reindeer was Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
So if you see a soft glow in the sky on Christmas Eve, you can be sure that Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, is there.